So, it's August 12th. Thought I'd do another garden tour. One of the rhubarbs that I had planted in this pot came up, failed to thrive, and died off. So I just replanted a squash plant. Because me and squash get along. I'll try the rhubarb again later. That Sierra Garden basil that is really getting woody. This is that melon that I was hand pollinating. I cut the one vine off that was going up this way because it was just distracting. So I was hand pollinating it and it wasn't doing anything, and you can see from the multicolor tones that it's got some distress going on. It is, let me see, 117 days old, which means it should be past fruiting. And like I said, I hand pollinated it for the longest time and nothing happened, and I was in the process of cutting it out, and the husband's like, oh hey, look over here, what's... you can't see it from this angle. What's that? So the thing did actually put out one fruit, and we're waiting to see what happens. I'm not going to start hand pollinating again because hand pollinating is annoying and tiresome. These are some cabbages, some paisai, I don't know, little miniature bok choy looking cabbages. All the pots got planted. So one didn't sprout. Yeah, one didn't sprout. One I got 2 seeds in. That's got a sprout just coming up, so there's still hope for the other one. That's a rock. 3 didn't sprout. The basil that I planted did not survive the transplant. These are my chives. I've been trying all year long to get chives going, and this is the first success I've had, and these are garlic chives. This is the only seed that took out of an entire package of regular chives. That's carrot, but they're too leggy. They're not going to survive. That didn't sprout. It was carrot too. That's my stevia. It's finally decided to try to do something. It's 117 days old as well. I planted hollyhock in there, but the seeds are like 22 years old, so they probably won't sprout. Coming over here. So every time the husband closes the door, he messes up the blinds. So part of the process of opening that is fixing the blinds. It's kind of silly. Okay. That's the chard that didn't get transplanted in time, so it's living in the thing. It's doing okay. These are those lilies that I was talking about that we're seeing if they'll survive. Beans and a pepper. The pepper's not going to do that great. It's too late in the season. It didn't get a good start. Beans and peppers. Ginger. You see how the pot is falling apart? They're paper pots designed for 1 year, designed to put in a grid to make a square foot garden, which I thought was pretty cool. These are radishes because it's that time of year again. That's the volunteer bean. That's a volunteer bean. That's a volunteer bean. Harvested the chard last night, so it's all cut back. The potato that's not doing too good. This one's got a beetle. You see how that looks? It's got a potato beetle in there. Hopefully it'll stay in there and not go to the other potatoes. This is one of the corns. When corn starts getting that red look, it means it got too hot. That's a dandelion I'm growing for root. That's a dandelion I'm growing for root. That's a marionberry. Peppermint, oregano, thyme, garlic flowers. My Brussels sprouts are finally making their column. Can you see the little sprouty buds? Yeah, I think you can see it. Anyway, Brussels sprout, more corn, more of that red look that tells me that it's putting sugar into its leaves because it got too hot. Still no sign of actual corn. We'll see. Understand that the majority of the seeds that we plant are 20 years old. I honestly throw seeds at the ground to see what sprouts. Beans, they're kind of stunted. I don't know why. Mint, probably the mint. Geraniums, we have geraniums in the front yard. This is my Three Sisters patch. That's a pepper that failed to thrive, and I just need to replant the bucket. The second leaves never developed. It's the same age as the other 2 peppers. Anyway, that's my Three Sisters patch. This is just weeds. This is my evidence that we have a bunny or a bird eating stuff. Because you can see the cage, and you can see how nice and growing it is, and you can see that it isn't. And you can see that it isn't. Something is eating stuff, and it's not just a slug. So that was interesting to note when I got proof of that. We have these miniature bunnies here that are native that are palm-sized. I haven't seen one yet. We do have birds in the yard all the time. These are pumpkins. They're in a tower. They might fall over yet. That's my worry, because they're too high off the ground. There's no support. But these are pumpkins. They have not started flowering. Cleared out that bed. This bed is problematic because it's got those lilies in it, and most lilies are poisonous. More hydrangeas. Stick farm. Stick farm. Gonna have plums soon. Can you see any of them? Yeah, you can see one at least. Gonna have plums soon. So that's the whole garden, and then over here, and then behind there. So, never had the problems I'm having with tomatoes that I've had this year. I'm reasonably certain that these buckets simply aren't draining, even though they have holes in the bottom. They never dry out. The tomatoes look like they're getting overwatered. I'm at a loss. That one finally set up a new sprout and might make new stuff. Garlic and onions. Onions I planted last week. Garlic hasn't sprouted yet because temperature and whatnot. It will. These are green onions from the grocery store. You just, every time you have the white ends, you throw them in a pot. The neighbor's duck made noises. That's the tomato that got hit with the rhododendron. This is the one Michael's been eating off of. It's doing okay. It really is. It makes orange tomatoes. It doesn't make red tomatoes. They're his favorite kind. That's a carrot flower from putting a carrot top in the ground. That's a bean going up. These are beans. These are beans. That's a bean going up to there. There, can you see it? Yeah, there we are. That tomato again. This is where it got hit from the rhododendron. And this is the new growth coming out. These beans are getting eaten as fast as they grow. Onions. A few radishes and my sweet potato. There's also a potato in there, but the green is gone. Basil needs to be harvested again. The peas that I was trying, because they say they're heat peas, made 1 pod per plant, and on that pod there is 1 pea per plant. So I don't know that they're that heat resistant, but hey, it was fun. Chard got cut back, some onions, chard, kale, sweet potatoes. That is going to be a pot full of sweet potatoes. That's going to be so much fun. Potato. Three Sister Garden. It's doing okay. That's a squash. That's a squash. That's a squash. That's a squash. Then there's beans and corn. Might not get any corn off that corn. It might be too late in the season. This is the zucchini. Zucchini does not like hot weather, but it's there. And it's there. I don't think there's any fruit in there. This is that other Korean melon, which also has not set fruit. Then, way down there, there's beans and radishes growing, and they're growing really well. And their sole purpose is to get that dirt better. Pumpkin. You can see lemon balm, bee balm stuff. His willows. Like I said, they get about yay high and get bushy. So this path will actually have to be relocated, which is kind of funny. Anyway, there's 3 failing to thrive corns there. And then no female flowers yet on these pumpkin, which for pumpkin it's early in the season. There's my Japanese squash. He's a bit yellow. Those are radishes, and the fresh sprout, if you can identify it in the picture, is a bean. There's one there, and there's one down there. It's actually like 12 beans planted, but so far only 2 have come up. Again, that's a potato, which isn't supposed to be there. That's interesting. This whole line was potatoes, and we harvested them almost a month ago. So now we've got a fresh potato coming out because, hey, you abandoned me. Like I said, these bricks will have to get moved at some point. So, I don't think you can see them on camera, but there's 2 squashes in there. And most of the squashes come up, turn yellow, and die. There's a squash behind there. I can't see my screen, so I can't tell if you can see. Dill, the fennel that bloomed early, rosemary, zucchini. That's the stage you pick zucchini at. While the flower is still go away, bumblebee. Thank you. While the flower is still attached, if you harvest it then, it has no seeds. It's nice, it's yummy. That is a artichoke flower with a bumblebee. Came out the other day and there were 3 bees head first into the flower at the top, just bee butts. I could do this for hours. Okay, anyway, radishes, I trimmed them back a lot. More zucchini. There's another zucchini. See the other zucchini? That's the size you harvest them. People who make giant zucchini boats, I don't know what they're doing. Fava beans, onions, garlic. I think 6 cloves of garlic were planted there, only 1 came out. The onions are doing fine. They don't mind clay. This is hard pan clay dirt. Fava bean. Spearmint that went to seed. Lemon mint. Lemon balm, lemon bee balm, something. Compost bin. Twig pile. Yeah. I lose my breath just talking. I'm going to be reading from Nabokov's Ada. That's fennel. It did not get root bound. Now you see why I'm saying that the other one is stunted. It did fall over. And then this is black anise from seeds that were harvested in Tacoma in the early 80s, mid-80s, that we have been propagating ever since. Grape, first year, so it's just making vines. We're going to make 1 batch of Dole Moss, probably in mid-September, as soon as they start doing any kind of color to them. You know, like these already have color. So that's my biggest squash right there. Yes, I'm using the blackberries to grow my squashes, because why not? So that is pretty much, we need to know what this tree is. It's really, really big, and originally we thought it was ash, but it's not ash. I don't know if you can see the leaves. It drops berries, and the berries have a very citrusy scent to them, and stain purple when they oxidize. So, berries are seed pods. Let's see, can you see the seed pods against the light? There they are. It drops them all the time. And we have a tree in the front yard that looks similar to it, but makes a big seed pod that has a nut of some kind in it. So, no clue. Anyway, I'm going to be reading Nabokov and talking about it constantly, because why not? That's the purpose of reading it. So those videos will be interspiced, probably far more frequently than these videos. Other than that, yeah, the place is a mess. Gotta clean it up. That's poison oak. See the poison oak? Right, where's my finger? Right there. That's a dead soda can, a cup too, that needs to be cleaned up. I have nothing else to say. I'm sleepy. I will talk to you later.